Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Getting Real with Claudia and Jose. Today we're fortunate to have Pauline from Simply Home Downsizing. We're going to get all the details about getting organized, but if you or anybody you know is looking to downsize, this is an episode that you don't want to miss.
We met Pauline about 6 years ago when we moved to Cabbagetown. As realtors, we started seeing we have a lot of seniors in our community, and we saw challenges that they're facing when they want to move out from their houses or they need to make a change. The service that you provide connects very well with many of the needs of not only seniors, just people who are downsizing, which is part of the name of your company, right? So, Pauline, thank you for being with us today. Why did you start this business and why the name and when did you start it?
I guess it was about 10 years ago I stumbled upon this industry. Our industry, we're called professional organizers. And then we do a variety of service, including downsizing for seniors, but also helping people pack, move, unpack, store items, estate clearing. We do staging. So there's a variety of things that within this industry that you can be doing.
First, you have to have it in you to organize, right? And to...
That's the number one thing.
Right?
You have to have a passion for organizing and helping people.
And the patience.
And patience. Yes, that is it. Yes. And so about 10 years ago, I started my own small business doing this. It was about 7 years ago. My business partner, Rosalind Tantello, and I partnered and created what is now Simply Home Downsizing.
And I love the name because it talks about simplicity, right? You make it simple. So what have you found that the main challenges are for people who are looking to downsize?
The main challenges are that people feel overwhelmed about the whole entire process. They don't know where to start, and they look at all the items that they have in their home and say, will the items fit into my new, smaller space?
You come without an emotional attachment, and you could be able to sort the things that need to be done without that hesitation that emotional attachment provides to the process and probably holds it back.
When our team comes in, you're absolutely correct. We do not personally have an emotional attachment to those items, so we can quickly and swiftly sort and pack the items.
What do you find most rewarding from your job?
I personally find the very end of the project to be the most satisfying because after all
the hard
work that the client has done, that our team has done, the client will come to us thankful and just so excited for the next phase of their lives.
And you mentioned something when we were talking as well about there is a relief.
Big sense of relief because when you think about what they were thinking at the very beginning of the process, I have to move, I have to downsize, where do I begin? The whole feeling of being overwhelmed and emotional. And at the end of the process, everything's done to their satisfaction, and they're looking forward to moving into their new home.
Walk us a little bit through the process.
So we always start with a free at-home consultation. So we'll meet with the client and we'll talk a little bit more about their project, their timelines, and then we'll do a walkthrough of their home. And after that, we provide a written estimate is broken down into phases. So if they need to firstly declutter their home in order to prepare it for sale, so we'll help them with decluttering and then help them stage their home. We can do a full-on stage or we can do what we call a light stage. And then after the home sells, we can help them pack up. We can manage the movers on move day, and then we can help them unpack in their new home. And then the client can decide if they actually need all of that help or they can pick and choose the phases that they need. We're very flexible in that way.
That's good. That's because you give them options and you don't overwhelm them even more to make another decision. When you need to sell the house and the kids are left with all the things from the parents, and unfortunately they don't know what to do either.
And actually this week we were having coffee with a couple that we helped them with a sale of their mother that had passed, and it was an estate sale. And we asked them what was the delay in being able to move forward and selling the home. We thought that it would be the paperwork involved, and it was that emotional attachment of the house that they had grown in. So I feel that the service that you provide give that freedom of allowing somebody else to deal with that and not necessarily have to deal with that situation, which is going to be very emotional.
I think how we can benefit the adult children is helping with the physicalness of the home and the items in the home. Our team could come in and declutter and sort all the items in the home so that when the adult children do come in, all the items are very straightforward.
So, in your experience, when they come to you or they refer to you for the service, are they ready to sell or to move on with the process?
Generally speaking, they're ready to go. People have spent the time to think about what they need to do. And sometimes it's a little bit of a rush as well. They've taken a long time to make a decision and now they've run out of time, right?
Once they're ready, how long does it take for you to be able to complete the whole process?
So it depends on the project. If it is, say, strictly an estate clearing, so say, for instance, the homeowners have passed away, the adult children have taken the items away that they want to keep for themselves, and now they're saying everything left in the home can be disposed of, either sold, donated, and then the other categories that we use in our business is garbage, recycle, toxic chemicals, which are like half-empty paint cans, and cleaning solutions, items like that, and then electronic waste, which is electronics that are obsolete or broken. So at that point, our team can come in, pack up everything into those categories, and sometimes we can have a whole entire large home cleared out in 2 or 3 days.
What is the best time for a person? And I think we should think about more seniors, right? Typically, it's more seniors who are taking this service to downsize because they need to move or need to make a decision to sell for any reason. What would be the best time for them to start the process?
I would have to say in the last 5 to 7 years, we have found that it's not only seniors that are downsizing, more so we're finding younger seniors, baby boomers, and even Gen Xers.
Oh,
They're, yeah,
or downside.
right.
Empty nesters as well.
Empty nesters. So you can have Gen X that have adult children in their early 20s that have left home. And now you find
They're ready to move
couple
on.
or a single person in a large 3-bedroom home, and they're ready to downsize. So I would say the time to think about downsizing or physically getting involved in downsizing is now. So start as soon as you can. I don't know if you've heard the term Swedish death cleaning.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Premise behind it is that in Sweden, people in their 40s and 50s start thinking about downsizing. And it doesn't have to be the whole entire process, but it could be, let's go down into the basement and pull out all those boxes of books that we haven't touched in 10 or 20 years, and let's go through them and start to donate. So it's starting the process as
Preemptively.
early as possible.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like even in our case and with our kids, I always tell them, if you haven't used this for 2, 3, 4 years, somebody else might use it, or we can do something else with this. So we can start like decluttering. So every year, it's good to start the new year with maybe just like moving some things, little things, year after year. So when the time comes, then you don't have to
That's right.
have everything in your house and then make these huge decisions. So that's very interesting. I was reading about this term that you just mentioned because there was an article in which the family, the kids in their 40s, in their 30s, sorry, they were so mad at their parents because they were get rid of things, even pictures and things. And they said, well, what are you going to do with them? Are you going to do something with them? If you're not, then we just might just get rid of them. So it's an interesting term, and it does sound awful, but it's kind of what it is. So we've talked a lot about involvement, right? And so how can family help their family members, being seniors or younger seniors or boomers or Gen Xers? I think Gen Xers, I'm a Gen X and my kids are 15 and 12. They're not going to help much yet. But when you're older, how can the family assist? And I think the other um, one of the challenges would be that many parents might not want that help either because it's their things and they just don't want to detach from that. And we see it more we see it very easily. Like it's easy to detach because we're not as connected to these items. For the parents, that's not as easy. Like I went through that with my parents. My mom and my dad, they moved from their home in Colombia. And when that happened, what I saw was more they were looking into downsizing, but they were also looking into, okay, well, this is kind of like the last stage of our lives. They were not that old, but still they were thinking about what's next. And it's not as easy. So as a kid, you're like, it's okay, mom. It's okay that you're going to be okay. Let's just, get rid of this. Let's move on. But for them, it's not as easy. So how can family help?
The number one thing, and this, I guess this would be sort of one of my pet peeves, is I would say if the adult children still have their own items stored in their parents' home, that they come and take it away. Because sometimes that creates quite a burden for the parents. They're thinking, oh, my son has, all his sporting equipment in the garage, and my daughter has all her art supplies in the basement,
Offend them
and they don't want to offend them. But it's creating, a bit of overwhelm for them because it's one more thing that they have to think about. So that would be the number one thing I would say for adult children is to come into the home and take away all of your own items. Take them away first.
Well, what would be the motivations? Because first, like in some cases I see it's that the children don't have the space where they live. Their parents have more space and that's why they dump it there. And the other one would be like taking the time to do something that is not time sensitive and like being proactive about it. Like it would be a challenge, but it does make sense to do it ahead of time and not have to wait until the end to do everything.
It's not the parents' responsibility. So why put that burden on them? Just
True.
it's your items, take it away for now. The parents are downsizing. They can't take your items with them to their new place.
And it also could be like a friction point as well, because like the kids, as you were mentioning, you're a bit more objective, and then the parents want to keep that attachment. Like first, you're moving them from their safe environment, like they're moving from their house to somewhere that they don't know how they're gonna feel or if they're gonna adapt. Second, you're like removing the things that make that sense of family still be there, and then like you're disassembling their life essentially, like by removing all these things and moving them or them voluntarily moving somewhere else.
But we are disassembling their lives, right?
It's a good point. It's true. So, okay, so first will be that. Like,
And then I would say for the adult children is to have as much patience as possible with your parents. I know it's difficult. And maybe even pick a few days where you're going to come over and you're going to help your parents make decisions on the items that they would want to keep or perhaps give away or sell. And spend some time, with the items, talking about the memories. I think that would very healthy way. Yeah. And the parents would really appreciate that.
it's like having some like closure,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Give them that idea.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great advice.
Yes. One of my clients did this fantastic thing in regard to some of her items and sort of attaching it to family. So we had a client who had a whole collection of teacups and saucers, but she had a lot of them and she couldn't take them with her. So she asked one of her nieces if she would like her collection. And her niece lives in a one-bedroom condo downtown. And she said, no, I do not have the space either. So what she did was, and this was brilliant, she bought these decorative boxes and she put one cup and saucer in each box, wrapped it up, and she gave each individual box to every single family member.
Oh, that's lovely.
So to all of her daughters and her son and her nieces and nephews, they all got one teacup and saucer.
Just like her life was distributed amongst their family members.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yes.
So, how do you help mediate when there is this agreement in the family on what to do with the items? Do you do that? Do you get involved in that situation?
Well, sometimes we do, whether we like it or not. And
Somebody has to make the decision, right?
that's right. That's right. But the senior client should have final decisions. And when we're working with them, we want to ensure that what they want to do is respected, yes. So we try to communicate with the adult children as much as possible and let them know, like, this is the process. And we always try to come in with the practical process, but then we still want to honor our client and their decisions. So we try to communicate as best as possible with the adult children to say, this is what your parents want, and we want to respect that too.
That's not easy.
It's not easy.
So you kind of like a psychologist as well throughout this process, right? Like you help the family, the whole family, to navigate the whole process, and that's not an easy task.
That's right.
So I love stories. So I think people learn a lot with stories. Is there any story that you want and can share about any experience that was either a beautiful outcome as the one that you mentioned with the teacups, or a challenge, and how did you overcome the challenge, or how was the whole process?
So we worked with a very lovely couple, and they were downsizing from their family home and moving into a senior's residence. We actually did an online auction, sell most of the items in their home because they were moving into a 2-bedroom unit in a senior's residence. So we had to sell a lot of items, and we did that. We moved them into this 2-bedroom unit in the senior's residence, and when they moved in a few months later, the gentleman, he had leg problems, and because he was being cared for properly at the senior's residence, his health actually improved, which was great. And then a couple of years later, his wife passed away, so he decided to move into a smaller suite. So he called us up and asked for help again. So we packed him up and moved him into the 1-bedroom suite. And what was beautiful about it was we were able to organize the furniture and even the artwork in this exact same position as it was in the 2-bedroom. So when he walked into the 1-bedroom unit, it looked exactly the same.
So he didn't feel the difference, and I think that mentally that gives a lot of peace.
And then we had the honor of helping him make decisions and pack up his deceased wife's clothing and other items. And we even packed up some items and sent them to her daughter in British Columbia.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think that's another part that's so hard, right? Like when your husband or your wife passes away. My mom passed away 8 years ago. I still have items from her that I'm like, and I tell Jose, I can't get rid of this yet.
Yeah.
It's been 8 years,
Right.
right? So having that compassion and understanding about what's transpiring in the family and the situation, what everybody's going through, it's another type of job that you guys take on that is not as easy. Typically, when these processes happen, like when you need to downsize, there has to be a connector. It's either somebody calls you directly because they know you provide the service, or somebody refers you from the real estate service or the industry, or a friend has gone through that process and they referred the service. How is that initial connection on your end? Like, what is the main connector to the people who need to downsize?
So in our business, I would say realtors. So realtors, I I guess, would go into the home, and if they're planning on selling, they look around and say, okay, we need to create more space here. So how are we going to do that? So we call Pauline in, and then Pauline can have a conversation with your client about the whole entire process and what needs to happen to prepare the home for sale.
Yes, it's true. Typically when we work with clients, we do seller consultation. We go to the house, we take a look at what needs to be done. And if the person is downsizing or needs to get rid of things, then we refer the services. That's when, like,
Sometimes they don't even know where to start.
yes,
yes.
exactly. Or not what to do. They don't even know sometimes that this service exists.
Right.
Right?
That's
So
right.
that's important to know that
Yes.
that it does, and how you can help.
Yes.
Although it's frequent that as agents, when we have a real estate transaction taking place, we refer your services to our clients. how can people be able to reach you? How can they see what it is that you do, and is there um, an understanding on their side that probably they don't have to wait until they sell a property to be able to do this? Like, as you mentioned, many people just need help organizing, and this is something that you could be able to help them with.
Right. So above and beyond you inviting me into the client's home to assist them, people can find us by searching for our website. We're on social media. They can email us, call us, and also most recently, we're on a website called Home Stars, and we have recently won for the 7th year in a row the Best of Award for Home Stars.
And that's a huge tool for people who are looking for different services. So it's good
Yes.
that you are highly
Yes.
ranked.
Yes,
And
thank
have
you.
won, so congratulations on
Thank
that.
you. Company name is Simply Home Downsizing, and our website is simplyhomedownsizing.inc.ca.